Fam, what's up? What's up? How's everybody doing today? Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube, coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Alabama now 9-1, 7-0 in SEC play. The SEC West champs. There's a lot to go over today. I'm going to have Coach Sean with me. We will take your calls around the 40-minute mark, so save your calls. Call them then. Coach Sean and I are going to chop this game up and talk about some big news coming out of College Station as Jimbo Fisher is reportedly to be let go from Texas A&M. I know they won last night, but when you look to everything overall, this is major college football news. Jalen Milroe scored 6. Want to talk about that. Kool-Aid on the punt return, overall takeaways. And with that said, we welcome in my main man, my good buddy, and an amazing asset of the show, Coach Sean. What's up, Coach? Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How you doing? Roll Tide to everyone out there.
Coach, let's jump right into it. Milroe scored 6 touchdowns. It was the first time that an Alabama football player in school history has thrown for 3 and rushed for 3 in a game. He has 6 touchdowns as Alabama routes Kentucky. And in my opinion, it felt like Alabama was really going to run away with this game from the get-go. And they did win by a good margin. It was 21-0. But that punt, and I know we're going to talk about that in just a second. That'll be our second point. But they had so much momentum, and you can see the kind of the swing of momentum in different games, whether you're home, away, whatever. But let's talk about Milroe. He was down on the ground for a little bit in the first quarter. Big dude stepped up, probably a thigh bruise. Overall assessment on Jalen Milroe and this team as Alabama wins their 9th game of the season.
I think Jalen played exceptionally well. And I think more importantly, Tommy Rees is actually finding his niche at how to use Jalen. I love the fact that they're mixing it up and to describe his play more than my words could ever say. Look no further on the pass to Kobe Prentice. The safeties were so afraid that he was going to run. The safeties reacted up. They completely let Kobe Prentice run right by them because they were so worried about his feet. Mm-hmm. So that aspect, it damages the defense. When the safeties reacted up, Kobe was wide open and he hit him right on the button. Yeah. So I think his play right now is what we need at this point. The threat of his feet is a huge deal. That's a huge deal when you play quarterback. And I don't see a defense that will be able to present problems for us until we get to the SEC championship. We got to take care of business, but Jalen is playing right where he needs to be right now. He's getting better in the intermediate passing area. His deep ball has always been there, as we know. His short pass is not bad, but his intermediate pass game is starting to round into effect at the right time. So I'm elated how this guy's playing right now, and even more happy how Tommy Rees is using it.
What's up, everybody? Get inside the comment box. We appreciate you guys joining us this Sunday morning. Hope you're off to a great start. Coach Sean and I coming to you. He's up in Huntsville. I'm in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, both part of Bama Football on YouTube. Coach, let's talk about some major college football news that is taking place right now. Just kind of reported this morning by Texags.com, which does an amazing job. Jimbo Fisher reportedly to be let go. It said it could happen as early as today. I know they had the big victory, but when you look to everything that has gone on with Jimbo Fisher, he has this huge contract. I think they owe him around $70 million. I mean, what's kind of your initial takeaway with Jimbo, this, him going to Texas A&M? I mean, honestly, his numbers were, even with Kevin Sumlin, who was out there, I mean, they're almost the same amount of wins and losses. What's your kind of early take on that? In fact, I just told you pre-show, you've been doing stuff. I mean, this is major news that came out.
Exactly. I had no clue about this. This was amazing that they have this already. The fact that this guy's record, when you really look back at Kevin Sumlin's record, it mirrors Kevin Sumlin. Yeah. I'm surprised it took him this long. But the fact that this guy has a 70+ million buyout, man, I don't care how much you love football. I love this game. You can't care that much when you're getting 70 million to walk out the dadgum door. Right? I think it was Coach Ogeron I heard when I think they gave him 40. And I remember he was like, show me the door. You know what I'm saying? So $70 million, man. How it doesn't shock me that they let the guy go because his record really hadn't been any better than Kevin Sumlin's. Mm-hmm. But the fact that his buyout was that much, man. Good night, brother. How much can he care? 70 mil to leave? Shh.
And I start to when you look at kind of the things that have transpired at Texas A&M, especially their road losses. I mean, they have this incredible streak of losing on the road. I think it's like one of the longest in college football right now. You clearly start to think about the next coach in line. And I think I like to hear from you guys inside the comment box. Let me ask you guys, coaching candidates, whether it's realistic or not, at Texas A&M. And it's an interesting and amazing coaching opportunity because there's two programs in college football that I think can do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
One is Texas. Texas has so much money, and I get it. Alabama has money, their USC has money, but there's a different type of money in Texas. You can't compete with that. That's why kind of this name, image, and likeness and the transfer portal, that's why it makes coaches nervous, even Coach Saban, because it's going to be hard to compete with these schools in the state of Texas, right? So the Texas Longhorns already have their coach, Steve Sarkisian, and right now they should be able to pay him whatever he wants because he is their coach. He's young. They're doing good things at Texas. You see where they are in their rankings. You saw they were able to beat Alabama this year. They're coming into the SEC. There's going to be so much to gravitate towards around Texas. The other program is Texas A&M. So they can do whatever they want. If they can buy out somebody for $70 million or whatever it is, and that tells you just how much money that they have behind them, because not only can they take him out, they're going to bring somebody in. They're not going to bring in some average Joe. It's going to be this shocker, right? People in the comment box are saying Urban Meyer, there's, Lane Kiffin, Coach Prime, whoever it is going to be able to come in. Remember, and I was thinking about this. Remember when Utah bought the football program, literally bought every single player on their team this past year, a $1,500 Dodge Ram. Okay. Texas A&M could go in there and buy everybody a Ferrari. Like it's crazy what could happen if you get the next coach in there. That's how bad they want to win. So I don't know. I mean, what do you think, Coach? When you think to coaching candidates, just off the top of your head, Dan Lanning, that's a hell of a ad right there. I appreciate it, Tony. Thanks for joining us this morning. Urban Meyer, I've seen that kicked a lot. What about you, Coach? What are you thinking just off the top of your head?
For me, they may entertain Dan, but Oregon can match. I don't think he'll leave, Oregon to go to Texas A&M. For me, if they're being serious, they would entertain Kyle Whittingham at Utah. Guy's an awesome coach, man. They would entertain. I've even heard beforehand that if this was weeks ago, that they would entertain hiring Josh Heupel. They like Heupel's offense. They like how he runs his program. He's sort of fighting from uphill at Tennessee. He go to Texas A&M, he'll have the money in his lap right then and there, the Ferrari to do what he want to do. I think the young man who coaches Duke, I don't know his name, very successful guy to turn Duke around and make Duke that type of program competitive. It's several coaches out there. I'm not sure if Lane, they may entertain Lane. It all depends on how serious they are. But I think Kyle Whittingham, Dan Lanning, the young man who coaches at Duke, the Kansas State coach, they're very high on him. These guys that have taken these quote unquote lesser programs and absolutely made those guys competitive in every facet. If they're serious, I really think they'd entertain those guys. I wouldn't be shocked with the success of Texas if they wouldn't even entertain hiring Coach Prime to bring that attention back to Texas A&M.
Well, that's what I was just going to say is Coach Prime. And there's a lot of people out there that are going to say that doesn't make sense. And, Colorado was all hype. 100%. We all knew that they were going to be hyped. But what was amazing about Coach Prime was how he was able to get the players there. Now, everything else kind of has to mesh. And look, their schedule was going to be difficult. They played Arizona tough last night. And I think that shows kind of the signs. But players, whether you like it or not, players want to play for Coach Prime right now.
It's a whole fact. I know this person. Yeah.
100%. So if he goes there, and I just don't know if like the culture of A&M and Prime would match up really well. That would be kind of one of those things. I mean, if it was Texas, oh my god, if this was reversed and Texas was looking for a coach, oh my goodness, can you imagine Coach Prime at Texas, right?
I mean, you have to realize, and you got to be honest with yourself, and maybe if you don't know, Coach Prime is huge in our community. I mean, the kids that grow up now, the African-American kids that grow up now, it's an older guy in our neighborhoods that look like Coach Prime all the time. So when you see Coach Prime out here with the jury on and the talking how he talk, that's normal for us. So that's normal for the parents. If you go to these camps, you'll hear what the kids are saying. I'm at the camp, so I know they love Coach Prime. The only thing that a lot of them have reservations about is just playing way out in Colorado. A lot of these kids from the South don't want to play in Boulder. Boulder's a beautiful, beautiful place, right? But a lot of these Southern kids don't want to play in 30-degree weather. They don't want to play way out there. You can convince some of them to go out there, but you give Coach Prime Texas A&M backing, money. I don't know if he meshes with the old heads of Texas A&M and the filter of what that program is built on. They're not really a modern hip hop type up to date program, but it's a lot of kids. I'm telling you, you can believe me or not, it's several children that are going to go where he goes, believe it or not. But I don't know, man. Texas A&M sort of comes across to me as not very smart when it comes to their hires, right? I mean, it seems like they hire for the wrong reasons. I don't really know what their backbone is. I know Jimbo's, if he's out of there, it's several selections they can have, and they have enough money to kind of go fishing for whoever they want.
Yeah, and I think along with Coach Prime, and that's why I was saying I don't think like culture-wise he fit at Texas A&M. I don't even know if it's like a black-white thing, because I don't think Lane Kiffin would even fit in there. I think he's like he's too modern for
he's
Texas.
Too modern. Yeah,
he's too
exactly.
modern. Right? He's on Twitter. He's not afraid to say what he wants. I think that it just wouldn't be like a good blend there. Now, if they wanted to really transform their identity, which I think if you're Texas A&M, you're 1,000,000% need to do. All the stuff floating around with the male cheerleaders doing their thing, and they're like a laughing stock right now. So you need somebody to go in there and completely change the PR of that program 100% and get people thinking Texas A&M is the place to go again. And that's why Coach Prime, with what he was able to do, because Colorado, despite their lack of success on the field, they have done a good job, like PR wise. They have 15 different type of jerseys. They're modern. They got the smoke. And I used to cover Colorado, so I know this. But the problem is like in Boulder, besides this, like it's so beautiful out there. Like why watch a mediocre football team when you can go to the Flatirons? When you can go into Denver and watch the Broncos, when you can go watch the Nuggets, when you can go Denver has all those sports teams. So Colorado football has always been a second fiddle up until now, right? So you can go into College Station and do that. Plus, Prime already has a presence in Texas and the recruiting around Tech. Can you imagine prospects from the Houston area,
a fact,
into Louisiana?
Yes,
coming to meeting with Coach Prime. That would be scary for college football. I'm serious. And I've been talking to us a long time, and sometimes I speak things that come into fruition for whatever reason. I mean, I'm just kind of putting things together. If you're Texas A&M, let me ask you this. If it happens or not, in Texas A&M, their board right now are putting on a hot list board. They're like, okay, emergency meeting. We need the coaching candidates. 10 on the board right now. There's a, let's just say we're making this up. There's 10 people in this board, right? And they have a huge whiteboard. I'm obsessed with whiteboards. I have 3 of them in my office. Goals, affirmations, business plans. Who are the 10 candidates on this? You don't think Coach Prime is on there?
I definitely do. And I'm going to tell you the main reason why. The fact that, see, Texas and Texas A&M have a different type of rivalry. It's different than Alabama and Auburn. It's different than Florida and Florida State. Texas and Texas A&M has a I can't say on air who's the biggest syndrome going on, right? We got more money than you. No, we got more money than you. That type of thing. The fact that Texas is doing well right now, that is going to that's a major reason why this move was brought into fact. If you don't think Coach Prime will be on their list, you're crazy, because he's gonna put the spotlight squarely back on Texas A&M in every facet imaginable. The guy can coach, man. I mean, you can say what you want to say and fool yourself and talk to yourself. Colorado is an awful team, brother. They're awful. They're not even bad. They're awful. The fact that he was competitive in as many games as he was with a whole new team that he just brought in there. The guy, if you know, the guy can coach, and kids will follow him. If you don't think Texas A&M, the people, the ADs and the chancellors and the presidents are he would be on that list, you're kidding yourself. Because a lot of modern college football today is Twitter. It is social media. It is likes and views and NIL, and that's just the world we live in today. And Coach Prime fits squarely right into the middle of that.
All right, I gotta give a shout out to Kimberly. She wants some love inside the comment box. Hype up on Sunday. Hey Kyle, what's up? You never read my text or my chat, and I'll be watching the podcast for a long time. Kimberly, we got a ton of appreciation for your support. Thank you very much. Hope you have a wonderful Sunday, and thank you for being here with Coach Sean and I. So we appreciate you. And if you want a link top like that, just hit the comment box. These are fresh out. There's a couple different styles, so we appreciate it. Thank you very much, and we appreciate you being here. Coach Sean and I are talking about the news that's coming up today about Jimbo Fisher reportedly being let go as soon as today, and everything around there, including the coaching candidates. Here's what's on our show today. We're going to get Coach Sean out probably within the next 25 minutes or so, and then I'll take your calls. Coach, we spoke about Jalen Milroe's play, 6 touchdowns. Let's dive into this. By the way, before we get into this next point, I just have, and we're going to take your calls in a while, so don't wait online by any minute. Like we will get to the calls in a little while. This is crazy though. I was just kind of, putting the graphics together for the show and stuff. Brian Kelly, again, he's the head football coach at LSU, again, is still harping on that hit on Jaden Daniels and said, he was like, look, he was like, now he's accusing Dallas Turner of trying to knock out Jaden Daniels. I just saw it. Let me see if I can add it real quick to the show. Let me see. Let's see if this works right here. Okay, so it looks like it's going to play. So this is Brian Kelly after their win last night over Florida, and he's talking about Dallas Turner. Now he's accusing Dallas Turner of trying to knock out Jaden Daniels. Here's that clip right here.
But it's tragic that we threw a kid out of a game because he was trying to play football. And whatever semantics, there's going to be a great explanation about this. Oh, he used the crown of his helmet, or he did this, or he did that. He was playing football. Last week, that guy that hit Jaden Daniels was trying to knock him out. You can say whatever you want, but that's what he was trying to do. Our guy was trying to make a tackle. So everybody's smart enough to figure that out. But we have 2 different outcomes. We got to figure it out.
Man, Brian Kelly still salty about that loss. Look, I was thinking about it last night. Look, LSU has had a good season. The teams that they've lost to, Alabama, who else? Help me out here in the comment box. They lost to Alabama, Florida State. Okay, a combined 21-1. And then who else? And then they lost to Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, but he is still salty about that hit. Coach Saban explained it. Look, there's been 2 instances now where Dallas Turner's name has been brought up, and I know we're kind of getting off topic here, but I just saw that. I mean, it's worth talking about. I mean, your take on those comments, because we look back to Quinn Ewers from last season. I mean, they're trying to make Dallas Turner out to be this dirty player. Dallas, you got to hit the quarterback, and we're getting to this world of college football where and in NFL football to where you almost can't hit the quarterback.
It's a fact. It's ridiculous because I know exactly what Brian Kelly's doing. Brian Kelly's in damage control mode. He's trying to change the narrative of the fact that you lost to Alabama. You're trying to change the narrative that even when your quarterback got hurt, you were down 14 points and your offense had just punted 2-3 times. You were going to lose that game, brother. Sorry. It's over with. So Brian, I know what he's doing. He's trying to change the narrative. Let me act mad about this. Then some fans will get on this and leave me alone about losing. The bottom line is one of his players got threw out for the same thing, a worse hit, I might add. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that we still got to keep talking about this, and they're salting this young man's name just for playing football.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. But I will agree with him on one thing. We do need to get to a page where it's consistent on what targeting is and what targeting is not. Because right now, if by the rule, what Dallas did was not targeting. You want to see targeting? Go back and look at Bryce Young last year on the road at Knoxville when the guy lunged straight head first, didn't wrap up nothing, hit him clean in the face mask. Go look at that play and look at Dallas wrapping up, making a football play and hitting a man right in his chest. You know what I mean? His helmet just caught the top part of his chin. Like, we got to stop, man. You lost the game, Brian. Shout out to you. Move on.
Yep. All right, Coach. Let's look at some of these other points on the show. I want to get your take on Kool-Aid and punt returns, because from what I saw, and I didn't go to Lexington. I was watching the TV broadcast with all you guys. So the punt comes in, and from what I saw, it looked like to me that Kool-Aid just dropped the punt. Like, it just went through his hands. And the reason we're talking about this, if you're wondering about Kool-Aid, is because we've been waiting for somebody else to maybe be returning punts. Love Kool-Aid at the defensive back position. Last year, he had an incredible year. He was first team all SEC on special teams returning punts. This year, something has changed. I don't know what it is. Coach Saban defended Kool-Aid last night. Let me see if I can bring up that clip, and then I'll go to you, Coach, about your assessment of Coach Saban on Kool-Aid, because I felt that particular play caused a lot of momentum shift within that game. And I was trying to find Coach Saban on it. But anyways, while I look for that, oh, here it is. Here's Coach Saban defending Kool-Aid. I'm sure you guys saw this, but let's play it for context before we go to Coach Sean.
Stay with him? What do you mean, stay with him? What would you do with him? I mean, I love the guy. He's a good returner. Look, the gunner on that side ran into him when he missed the punt. All right, that's the gunner's responsibility. You know, you can't look up and catch a ball and worry about somebody that's running down the field blocking for you, running into you. So he tried to fair catch the ball. I got every confidence in the world. He's been a good player for us, and I just think the players around him have to do a little bit better job because, you know, when you get these radical punts, I'm going to call them, you know, you don't get like easy balls to field. You got to cover a lot of ground to catch it, and that launch point of where he's catching it changes for the people that are blocking for him. So I'm not making excuses for anybody, but you can't blame him for that one.
Coach, what you think?
I understand what Coach is saying, and some of the things actually everything he said was true, but it goes back farther with Kool-Aid than this game. I believe, just in my humble opinion, of trying punt returning before and absolutely knowing it wasn't for me. I think Kool-Aid's confidence was shaken a little bit, and I say that because there were several punts in the previous games, Tennessee, that he could have fielded, that he chose not to field, whatever the case may be. When you put your foot on that 30-yard line, you got to feel that thing. You can't just let it bounce in front of you, right? I've seen this from him week after week after week. So I think Kool-Aid's confidence is a little shaken. And in punt return, the punt return game, that's easy to do. All it takes is you to miss a few, bobble a few, make a few mistakes, and your confidence. The only thing you think about when you're out there is, please don't miss the ball. Please don't miss the ball. Just at least catch it. And sometimes if you can let it bounce, you'll do that. So, but I told the guys last night that the thing that will cure that, one big play from Kool-Aid, one big play will kind of bring that confidence all back. It's just a confidence thing right now with Kool-Aid. I know what it is. Coach Saban is telling the truth. He's standing behind his guy, and I think it's a little bit of that. The gunner did cross his face and causing him some distraction and catching the ball, fielding the punt properly. So I think once Kool-Aid feels a good punt, makes a big play, that confidence will be back.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, you got to protect your guys, and we've seen this in the past. I mean, we talked about this last time. As Coach Saban defends his guys, I was just saying from my vantage point, it looks like things just honestly like the ball literally went through his hands, whatever the case. And even Isaiah Bond said that should be seeing me soon. Wherever the case, I felt that kind of had a momentum shift, and a lot of people wanted to see kind of reaction to that and kind of everyone's expectations to that. Okay, just overall takeaway from Alabama's victory over Kentucky, Coach, because Alabama wins this game 49-21. And really, I felt the score should have been 49-14 because of the fact that last touchdown, the backup running back against Alabama's backup defense, he goes all the way down the field, gets knocked out by an amazing play by Caleb Downs. You don't give up on any play. And we saw that last night with Washington. Washington was about to score a touchdown, and the dude drops the ball on the heads up play by the guy from Utah to be able to jump on it, right? So it's first and goal, and Christian Story makes a great hit on the running back. The ball clearly goes out. Christian Story recovers it. That's why I'm saying 49-14. But your overall take on this game, Coach, from top to bottom, did Alabama play another solid 4 quarters of play?
I think they played a solid 4 quarters of play. I just think we lost focus on that one play with Kool-Aid, which gave them a short field, and the one play with Jamarian Miller, the one play they robbed us on that fumble. That should have been a fumble when Christian Story hit the guy. The guy clearly dropped the ball. We recovered it. It should have been a fumble, should have been our ball going the other way. I think we did. And in a football game, man, when you're up like that, you may lose focus a little bit on a couple of drives here or there. That's normal. But we got to even get that cleaned up. I give these guys number respect on defense. Offense, we play lights out. Our secondary is absolutely great. And Tommy Rees called a great play. So did Kevin Steele and T-Rob. So, yeah, I got to give them A+ on both sides of the ball for this game.
And I think Mitch Barnhart, who's the Kentucky athletic director, I'll bring this up because it's really important. He's the lone rep on for the SEC on the college football playoff committee. And he had a front row seat at Alabama, was able to watch Alabama firsthand. Now, we saw Georgia, and I want to get your take, Coach, on the rest of college football, because as you look to the right side of the screen, we know that Alabama clinched the SEC West. And when you guys call into the show, I'm going to take your calls probably here in about 15 minutes. So save your phone calls. But these are the topics that I want to hit on. And now we're kind of looking at this next right at the right section of the screen. UGA won. Michigan and Ohio State won. Oregon and Washington, they both won. Texas survives. Now, get this about Texas. They allowed 20 points in the fourth quarter, and they survived by a 3-point victory. Now, the Texas Longhorns, a week ago, beat Kansas State in overtime, a game they definitely should have lost. And then against Texas TCU, they're able to win by 3 points. Their last 2 games, they've won by a total of 6 points, but they beat Alabama head-to-head. Coach, this Alabama team beats up on Texas right now. If they play, we all know what happened back in week 2 and how these two teams have transformed. Your quick or your overall assessment of kind of the 1 through 8 in college football.
I'll say this real quick. Imagine this. I don't see Florida State losing with the schedule. If they didn't lose against Miami, they probably not going to lose in the ACC championship. So that's Florida State from the ACC. That's one. The Pac-12 with Washington and Oregon. It doesn't really matter who wins that game. If Oregon wins, they're going to prop Oregon up on a pedestal. If Washington wins, they're still undefeated. That's 2. The Big 12 champion, Texas, who, if they end the season with a like record with ours, I don't see the committee letting us jump them because they beat us. That's 3. The Big 10, they're setting that up for one of those guys, if not both of those teams, like last year, to get in the playoffs. Michigan and Ohio State will play each other undefeated. The winner will go to the playoffs. That's 4. We don't know what's going to happen with the loser with 1 loss. Then you have the SEC with us in Georgia. With the grace of God, we get through our last 2 games. We get into that game with Georgia. So somebody's not going to make it. Somebody's not going to make it. And I don't understand how they're going to work this thing out. For me, as a Bama fan, as a realistic Bama fan, we need for Texas to lose. We need for Oregon to lose. And then we handle our business. If Texas loses, Oregon loses, and we handle our business, we will be in the playoffs. But that has to happen because I don't see us jumping Texas at all. I don't see us jumping Texas. They're going to hold that win. And I'm going to tell you something else real quick. Steve Sarkisian does an absolute great job of constantly reminding people, we went into Bama and beat them. They were 52-1 at home, blah, 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 blah. He says that almost every press conference that this subject comes up. So he's not going to let them forget that. And if Texas keep winning, we might be in some trouble. We're going to need some help. So pull for Texas to lose, pull for Oregon to lose, and we take care of our business. As far as Georgia goes, I said on our show after the LSU game, and we talked about briefly the Ole Miss and Georgia game, I said Georgia is going to dump truck Ole Miss. And I said that on the sheer fact of Georgia's physical, run the ball. They know their identity. They're not going to do nothing ridiculous. They're not going to come out of their comfort zone. They're going to run the ball. They knew up front Ole Miss couldn't hold up to them over 4 quarters running the ball, and that's exactly what they did. They just pounded the ball, play action over the top. They play like the old Bama teams used to play. Pound the ball, play action over the top, beat you by 40, 30, 20, whatever it was. So I knew that Ole Miss was not going to compete with those guys. Now, on the road against Tennessee, I think that'll be a better game because playing on the road in college football is very difficult. And I think after this loss, Tennessee even will be more razor focused. So I think this game is where Georgia will be challenged a little bit, but I knew the Ole Miss game wasn't. We got to finish our business, win our games, and hope Texas and Oregon lose.
Yeah, I think when I look at kind of the top 8 right now, and that's good feedback, Coach. Ohio State, look, watch them against Rutgers. They were losing that game 9-7 at halftime, but they have won 10 games in a row. And like you said, they're going to play Michigan, so one of those teams has to lose. Michigan finally has a W that you can be proud about, beating Penn State, which I thought it was kind of comical and hilarious to see after the game with the assistant coach crying. And talking, he was just like,
what was that about? What was that about, Karen?
Someone in the comment box said they're like, man, I didn't know that Jimbo or that Jim Harbaugh passed away. Like, it was that dramatic. You know what have been? You know what have been way better is if he just would have been like, we handle business. We're a team. We took care of the W. We're going back to Ann Arbor, 10-0. That's it. Like,
Yeah.
he made it way more than it had to be. I thought it was, it was actually embarrassing in my opinion. But whatever. I mean, the emotions of the after the game, who knows? Okay, so then you have Georgia. My takeaway on this: look, Georgia beat a good Ole Miss team. We know that Ole Miss team was good, and I think they did play a solid 4 quarters of play. And let me tell you this. Carson Beck is a good quarterback. We talk about Jalen Milroe continuing to transform. So is Carson Beck. I mean, that guy is fitting balls in tight windows. He has some wide receivers that are doing a really good job. Brock Bowers, whenever he'll be back, I mean, that makes him a tough team. And you want Georgia, in my opinion, going into Tuesday's ranking, I would 1,000,000% feel that Georgia should be the number 1 team.
Facts. They better be. They better be.
They have to be.
If Georgia's not the number 1 team, it's something funny going on. Come on, man.
Because look at their last 2 wins. I mean, you saw what Missouri did yesterday.
Yeah, whipped it, Tennessee.
Man, this is Missouri's first 8-win season since like 2014 or something like that. Eli Jinkwitz could be up for the Coach of the Year right behind Coach Saban, to be honest.
Right.
And you saw Missouri slicing teams up like this. Okay, so Missouri and Ole Miss, those are great wins for Georgia. Going to Tennessee, you have another opportunity for that. So I think Georgia's got to be the number 1 team. Plus, when's the last time Georgia won? I'm setting this up because I think that, this is kind of the road for Bama. You want Bama to be able to play the number 1 team in the SEC championship. And I think, those 2 teams right now, clearly a top 4 in my opinion. That's not being homerish. Those are facts. I mean, look at how Alabama has been playing in this 8-game winning streak. We talked about Florida State. Look, I have been tough on Florida State. I've said that I didn't, their schedule strength has been weak, which it has been. I guess, their key wins, according to the committee, are LSU. That's a good win. Clemson in overtime, not impressed. Should have lost to Boston College, and they said that Duke was a good win. Not really. Whatever the case is, Jordan Travis is a baller. The wide receivers are really good. And they did a good job last night, stopping Miami's run, making adjustments in that second half. Is it a great win over Miami and Cristobal? Not really, but I mean, they are 10-0. And Norvell, I mean, that program was almost to move out of FBS football, right? After Alabama rearranged their face mask a couple years ago. So they're probably in, like you said. Washington and Oregon, look, Washington was losing to Utah. There's no defense on that side. The quarterback is a phenom. I think it's him and Jaden Daniels up for the Heisman. Probably Daniels after that performance last night. Oregon, they're able to survive USC. They got Arizona State and Oregon State. They could still slip up in one of those games, but you need one of those 2 teams to lose. They're going to play each other in the Pac-12 title game. The committee loves the Pac-12. Loves it.
Yes. I'll tell you this too.
The Utah AD is on the committee. There's another guy from Nevada who's also on the committee as well. Go ahead, Coach.
David Pastor, I want to say this. You said Bama will get in if we win out. This is what I'll say, David. If Texas wins out, just like us, being that they beat us, if they win the Big 12, we'll have like records, right? We're not going to jump those guys. I mean, that would be like Ole Miss winning last night, and they let Ole Miss jump us. We'd be pissed as Bama fan. We beat them head to head. That's the first thing we'd say. They're not going to allow Texas to jump Texas if we end the season with like records. I don't believe that. They're a Big 12 champion. They beat the SEC champion, which would be us. Washington and Oregon. If Washington wins, they're undefeated. We're not going to jump an undefeated team. If Oregon wins, they'll have like records with us. Then it's a decision to be made. Florida State, I don't see them losing who they have left. They're going to be undefeated. We're not going to jump an undefeated ACC champion, and Michigan and Ohio State likewise. So unless we win out, unless Oregon and Texas lose, I don't think we'll be making the college football playoff.
Yeah, I think you're right, Coach. I mean, and someone inside the comment box said, the committee loves the Big Ten. I think they love the Big Ten and the Pac-12. To be honest, the good news is that those 2 teams, so Ohio State and Michigan, have to play, and so do Washington and Oregon have to play. And like Coach is saying, if Texas is able to finish out and they win the Big 12, that win over Alabama. The committee relishes that early season win. Honestly, they love that head-to-head. And the thing about the Big 12 is you saw what happened yesterday with Central Florida and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State just beat Oklahoma, and then Central Florida just beat the brakes off the Cowboys. It's like, what is the Big 12 is squirrely. For Bama, the next 3 games, Chattanooga, right? Everybody's gonna this is the week where Saban's gonna be the most pissed off. Because everyone's gonna be like, well, when are you gonna put in Ty Simpson? And what about this, coach? Well, you think Tyler Buckner plays? We're talking real rat poison. Or do you think you play Dylan Lonergan? That's real rat poison right there for you.
Yes, real rat poison. I understand what David Pastor's saying. He's putting more weight in beating the number 1 team. But David, remember this, my friend. Whatever win we have, we lost a head-to-head matchup with another conference champ at this point. That's not our win over Georgia. If that happens, is not going to outweigh the fact that the team that won the Big 12 beat us. I mean, you can't. That'd be like, again, Ole Miss jumping us. Let's say Ole Miss won last night because they beat the number 1 team. They would jump Alabama. We'd be pissed as Bama fans. Like, wait. We beat them. They're not going to allow us to jump Texas if Texas wins out. Trust me on that.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got to hope for Texas to lose 1,000,000%. And I think if Oregon is able to beat Washington, right, in the Pac-12 title game, and Alabama is able to beat Georgia, I mean, there's
That's
a lot
a decision, right?
Yeah, but Oregon's already ranked above Bama. And look,
Exactly.
I told you, I just said this. The Utah AD is on the board. The Utah AD has seen Washington and has seen Oregon. You don't think he's going to tell the committee members, look, these teams are for real? Of course you're going to, because they beat your program. Just like the Kentucky AD, Mitch Barnhart. These comments I thought were very powerful last night. The comments made by Stoops, and I'm sure you guys saw it. Let me I can pull that up for you guys. I think. Listen to what he says. He says, I think Bama is going to go on a run. Here's Coach Stoops following the game. You can find this on the YouTube shorts.
And match up very well today.
I think it's like at the 5-minute mark. Let me get you guys there.
And that, I mean, execution and playing better is a different story. You know, I don't question our team's fight or their desire to win. You gotta compete.
You talked earlier this week about wanting to put up a better performance than you did against Georgia. How do you kind of compare your team's performance today versus?
I can't even think. I mean, I'm worried and think about this game. I can't go back to that. I mean, again, I think I was pretty honest and said that, we need to be better. They did a great job. That's a very good football team. I expect them to make a deep run.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, just like you said, expects Alabama to make a deep run. So that's going to be the feedback that Stoops gives back to his AD. When they meet today or, Monday or whatever during their meeting, he's going to absolutely say that, look, Alabama he's going to know better than anybody how Alabama is playing right now. So is Brian Kelly, but I don't think Brian Kelly is going to do any favors for Alabama, especially after calling Dallas Turner out like that. Coach, I appreciate you joining me, man. Good way to start off Sunday. I hope you have a fantastic day. And I know you're off to church soon, man. So pray for us all. And, we'll catch you soon back at Bama Football on YouTube. We'll catch you Monday night with the coaches.
Most definitely. I appreciate you as always, Kyle. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Holler at me on JMHO Sports Talk. I'm learning the Twitters, you know what I mean? And I appreciate you, Kyle, and Roll Tide. And I'll see you guys next week.
All right. Absolutely, Coach. All right. Thanks for joining us, man. All right. That was Coach Sean calling in and actually not calling in, just, chatting with us today. My name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football. I'm about to take your calls. Give me 1 second while I set things up, and I'll be right back. Give me like 1 minute. So I'm going to fire up the call-in line. Give me 1 second, and then we can start the party with the call-in show. All right. What's up, fam? Just give me one more second, and you guys can hit the call in line now. I'll kind of arrange you guys to call in, and let me put the banner up, which is the show number. Do a lot of this stuff completely by myself, so a lot of it's on the fly. So I appreciate you guys being patient. So this is the call in line at the bottom of the screen. If you're new to the channel, hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe, 205-850-1994. And we go to the call in line, and we start with the 832. Looks like Mike in Austin. Mike, what's up, man? I appreciate the quick draw calling in. I appreciate you calling in, man. What's your take on this college football top 8 as we navigate to this next week of the college football season?
Hey, good morning, Kyle. Thanks for having me. Well, it's like the guest, the coach you just had on just said, Bama's going to need some help. They're going to need some help. I mean, it's a possible scenario to where Bama wins out, beats Georgia, and still doesn't go to the playoffs due to the fact of these conference champions, and then Texas having the head-to-head over us. And he also kind of alluded something that I've been saying all year. I think, there's definitely a spot reserved for the Big Ten champion and possibly 2 spots reserved for the Big Ten. And I don't know why that is. And there's also a lot of love for the Pac-12, right or wrong. I don't know. But Bama, it's possible they can win out, and for the reasons stated, still not go to the playoffs as just as big of an injustice or a calamity that would be. That situation still exists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that, clearly, as we were talking about, there are a lot of moving parts need to happen for Alabama to make the playoffs. And I think we get a better understanding of where this committee is in terms of the strength of the SEC on Tuesday night with how they rank Georgia. Because if they keep Georgia at that number 2 spot, then it kind of tells us, that they're not thinking that this Georgia team is as strong as they were in the past. Look, Kirby Smart is on an absolute mission. For the first time, he has reverse rat poison. He can say, look, we're not number 1. The committee doesn't believe in you. But honestly, Mike, watching Georgia last night against Ole Miss, I feel that that's the number 1 team right now in the country.
Absolutely, Kyle. Georgia's the number 1 team in the country. They've been for the last 2 or 3 years now. And unfortunately for the rest of the college football world, they're just getting better and better as the week goes. Their quarterback's also getting more confidence. They're playing better. And Georgia's the best team in the country. And in my opinion, there's only 2 teams right now capable of beating Georgia. One's Ohio State and the other is Alabama. The only people that are going to have the physicality and the speed and the coaching to even possibly beat Georgia, even if that's possible as well. I think the Michigan Wolverines are posers. I've been saying that all year. I think they still are posers. For example, yesterday they won their game against Penn State. Michigan did not have a pass attempt in the second half. Now, I'm not talking about a pass completion, Kyle. I'm talking about they did not even attempt to throw the ball in the second half. Do you think they can get away with that versus Georgia and Alabama? No, they can't. So I'm just hoping and praying Michigan eventually gets exposed for the posers they are. Now, Ohio State, they're the real deal. They're a good team. They got the talent and the coaching across the board to win, but I think Michigan's posers. Florida State, they have a game. They're going to play North Alabama next week. They're going to beat North Alabama, but they do play at the Florida Gators. They could possibly lose that game. There's a chance they can lose that game at Florida Gators. So on that day, man, we all got to be Florida fans. We all got to be pulling for the SEC and the Florida Gators to beat Florida State. So they could possibly lose that game. The rest of the Pac-12, I don't think their schedule's hard enough going towards the end of the season for them to lose. But Florida State could possibly lose to the Florida Gators, though.
Mike, what was your takeaways? And today on the show, guys, we're going to make our points and we're going to dip out because we got a bunch of people calling in, a lot to move through. But Mike, I want to get your take on some of these points. Milrose, historic day, scoring 6 touchdowns, 3 passing, 3 rushing. Kool-Aid on punt return. Jimbo out at Texas A&M. Hit on one of these points.
Well, Milroe is an excellent quarterback, man. Everybody from this point's got to be sold. Whether there are doubters early on, it's fine, so be it. Honestly, I fess up. I was a doubter early on Milroe. But from this point, he's an excellent quarterback. Heisman Trophy quality, I don't know. But Milroe's gotten 100% better and more confident as the offensive line did as well. So as the offensive line went, Milroe went. I'm 100% sold on him, and he's definitely the quarterback now, and most likely he will be next year too. But he did it the hard way, man. He had to win people over on the field, so he did that. And another point I'll touch on real quick is Jimbo at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Last week, but before the Ole Miss game, I told myself, and I told a couple of chats, I probably even told you, that this is a must-win game for Jimbo. If Jimbo does not win it at Ole Miss, that's going to be the first real nail in the coffin.
Yep.
And lo and behold, they got beat by Ole Miss. And then a few days later now, Jimbo, I guess the word's out that he's going to be out no matter what. I don't know who they're going to replace him with. My opinion, the best option is Lane Kiffin, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Definitely not Prime, but Lane Kiffin. But that losing to Ole Miss, man, that solidified where Texas A&M was in their football journey right now, playing second fiddle to Ole Miss, and that's just not what you can do if you want to be an SEC champion. But so that's where. And then, and like I mentioned, the next big three, real quick, kind of let you go. Bama's going to go to the Iron Bowl. They're going to play in Auburn on the Plains. That's going to be a tough game, man. That's going to be a tough game. Auburn's getting better and better. I mean, that's going to be a tough game for Bama. And you know how it goes in the Iron Bowl. Anything could happen. So Bama's got to take care of business next week, which they should. Then they got a big game to play out in Auburn. So really from this point, I mean, the playoffs, Bama's going to the playoffs. It is what it is. But they just got to get past Auburn first. That's going to be a major game. But, hey, love your show, man. Love your show. Like listening to your show, and seeing you here on the YouTube channel. So, dude, good luck to you. Take care and roll Tide.
All right. Take it easy, Mike. Thanks. I appreciate you calling in. I'll catch up with you this week. All this week at 9 a.m., I'll be coming to you on a live show. So Monday, 9 a.m. Central Time, I'll catch you guys at the call-in show. So I appreciate you. Mike is one of our most frequent callers, which we appreciate. Always enjoy catching up with Mike from Austin. We got a 317-614-201 and a 251 coming up right next on Bama Football on YouTube. If you call in and there's a busy signal, I have 4 lines open, so you could just keep trying to get into the show. I appreciate you guys. And like I said, if I don't get you guys today, I will get you guys later in the week. 317, let's get it going. And when you guys call in, let's get to the points. Let's hit on a couple topics so that more people can call in. So 317, let's do it. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, what's up, Kyle? This is Marcus calling from St. Pete, man. How you doing?
What's up, Marcus? I appreciate you, man. Wish I was down in St. Pete, man. I love going down there. All about, the Tampa, St. Pete vibe, man. So I appreciate you calling in, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. First things first, man. I have to say I'm having a good Sunday morning. I woke up this morning, no complaints. Alabama won, but, man, we've got to stay focused. I hear a lot of people talking about Georgia and the SEC championship, and I get that Alabama locked up the West, but Alabama still has to handle business, right? Alabama still has to go beat Chattanooga, which for those of you who don't know, Chattanooga was like first in their division. And then we got to go win the Iron Bowl, which is everybody knows crazy things happen in Jordan-Hare. We can't have another kick six or anything crazy going on, bounce balls and interceptions. Alabama has to handle business first. I say that to say this. When Coach was on earlier and he was talking about how you guys were breaking down how teams will fall into the college football playoff, I slightly disagree, man. I think, and this is a big if because I don't want us to look ahead, but let's just play devil's advocate, Bama wins out. Bama handles business against Chattanooga, wins the Iron Bowl, goes to the SEC championship, gets their invite to Atlanta, has a great game, but beats Georgia. I think that just because Texas beat a week 2 Alabama that was a team still finding themselves, a team that couldn't get their offense going, a team that defense was still kind of giving up big plays, you have to, if they go and beat the back-to-back national champs, they have several I think Alabama sits now with 3 or 4 ranked opponents on the schedule that they've beat.
Mm-hmm.
If you beat the back-to-back national champs, become the SEC champs, Texas and Coach Sark, which I love Coach Sark, he did great things here. They can scream that to the high heaven.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bama has the better resume. I think Bama would have the better wins.
Mm-hmm.
So sure, you can say Texas beat the eventual SEC champ, but nobody thought that in week 2.
Nope.
Everybody wrote Alabama off.
Yep.
It was like, oh, okay, Alabama's going to go 8-4. Ole Miss or LSU is going to win the West. Bama ends up winning the West, and then Bama goes and wins the SEC championship.
Yep.
I think you got to put Alabama in at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of have to.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I think what's happening is people are looking and they're judging teams off of different things. Some teams you look at them and people are giving them a go because of the eye test.
Mm-hmm.
Some teams you're looking at them, you're giving them a go because of their strength of schedule. I think you got to put all those things together and say, okay, who are the best 4 teams? Had a better strength of schedule, strength of rank, more ranked wins, and they beat the back-to-back national champs. If they kept Alabama out of the top 4, that is a lie. That would be some bull crap. What's your thoughts, Connor?
I mean, I've been saying, look, I think, and I think this is a great call. We actually got disconnected, Mark. I'll call you back on just a second. Sometimes we get disconnected. That's part of the internet. I don't control the internet, but I will hit on this point. Look, I don't think Alabama loses another game this season, period. I think the way that Jalen Milroe is playing right now and the offense is now being dictated by Tommy Rees, and they finally found their continuity, offensive line playing much better. Did you know this? That Kentucky didn't get a quarterback sack on Jalen Milroe or the Alabama offense yesterday? How about that? Round of applause, right? Crowd goes absolutely crazy on that statistic. So, look, Alabama right now, their defense, nobody wants to deal with it. They weren't even at full strength yesterday. And that's no disrespect to Kentucky. I mean, Kentucky has, a really good running back, and that quarterback was good. You saw him escape and evade 3 Alabama defenders. I think when you look to Alabama overall, their resume, I think speaks volumes. And you look at their key wins, Ole Miss, Tennessee, LSU. I think that those wins carry a lot of weight. I think this gauntlet of a schedule has been. Hang on, Marcus. I'll connect you, man. Just hang tight, man. And I think overall, the committee has to look at, this is the most important thing, has to look at how this team is playing right now. And it's the 4 best teams right now. I get it. Collectively, you got to look at everything. But are you ranking Alabama? It would be a travesty if you're ranking any of these teams, any of them, Michigan, Ohio State, Texas, whoever, back on week 2. Like the playoffs are for right now, right? So rank the times based off this point in time. Collectively, yeah, I think it matters. But, like Alex is asking, who's Oregon's best win? Who's Washington's best win other than beating up on Oregon? So when you look to the overall season, Alabama's resume is strong. Georgia's finally starting to, they have their 2 wins back-to-back against ranked teams, 2 good ranked teams, Ole Miss and Missouri. That was a tough little gauntlet. They're now going on the road to play Tennessee, which I think will be a tough environment to play at. But the way that Carson Beck is playing, I mean, this is quite the team, and they're doing what they do in that's win. And I think they should definitely be the number 1 team in college football. Give me 1 second. I'm going to connect to the phone line, and I'll be right back. 1 sec. All right, I think we are connected again. My bad. It's the internet. I don't trip anymore. I used to get really frustrated about things that would go wrong. I've said this before, but it's just like, look, when you deal with the internet and you deal with all these things that could go wrong, they will go wrong. So I don't really stress about that stuff. I mean, it's out of my control, so I'm not tripping. Let me see if I got Marcus still on the line. Marcus, call back, man. All right, we got a 614, a 201, and a 251, and a 980 calling up next right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate appreciate you guys. I'm going to probably push to, let's see, the top of the hour because, as you know, I like to go watch the 49ers play. They are playing at 12 p.m. Central Time against the Jaguars, which should be a tough game. It'd be crazy if the 49ers drop their 4th game in a row, but we'll see. So on Sundays, I got to go watch the game with my son and my daughter. That's what we do. We usually go to Buffalo Wild Wings. We wear their jerseys and stuff like that. I'm definitely going to wear this today. But today we're going to switch it up and go to Baumhower's. If you ever been to Baumhower's, it's pretty good. I think the food is better there than at B-Dubs, and I do like their wings. Their wings are nice and meaty. So yeah, that's kind of what we're doing today. But I will take your calls up to that point. So let's do a 614. And look, if the call-in line gets disconnected or whatever, like I'll just break and I'll come back. I don't control the internet. I do a lot of this stuff by myself. I'm just mixing and matching, plugging buttons in, and it works. So I appreciate you guys being here and being patient with me. All right, 614, let's do it. Hey, thanks for calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, it's David, pastor from Columbus, Ohio.
Hey, what's up, David?
Man, how you doing today, man?
I wish I would have had you and Coach Sean together, man. I appreciate you calling in. So I know he was giving you some feedback, but welcome to the show, man. Get to your point. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wish I could have got back at him, but
here's your chance.
I understand what he was trying to say. I do. I get it. But a bunch of guys sort of stole the thunder that I was going to talk about. Like, if Bama just wins out, if they win out, and they beat Georgia, 2-time defending national champion, somebody who's won 27, 28 games in a row, it is no way they can keep Bama out of the playoffs. Texas' best win after the Bama win would be like Kansas State.
Mm-hmm.
The Ohio State Michigan winner. I'm sorry, I don't believe they're going to put both of those teams in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
The only ranked win that Michigan has to this point is Penn State, who never beats anybody. I don't understand why people think Penn State is any good. They never beat anybody with a number on the left side of their name.
Yep.
Ohio State. I'm from Columbus. I watch this team. They are not what everybody think they are.
Mm-hmm.
They are not. This ain't the Ohio State of last year.
Mm-hmm.
They also don't really play anybody. And me being here in Columbus as a Bama fan, man, I catch it from those guys, but I'm constantly telling them, y'all don't play nobody.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally disagree with if Bama wins out and beats Georgia, there's no way they can keep them out. You can't say Texas beat y'all in week 2. Week 2.
Mm-hmm.
That was week 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be the 4 best teams. And hopefully they learn from last year when they put TCU in there, who lost their conference championship game to Kansas State, when Alabama should have went in ahead of them, and they kept them at 3, and they got smoked by Georgia in the championship game. Hopefully they learn their lessons from that, hey, you put in the 4 best teams, not the 4 teams you think deserve to beat it. If Bama beats Texas, it's no way. I mean, I'm sorry, not Texas, but Georgia. Yep. There's no way you telling me they're not one of the 4 best teams.
Yep.
There's no way.
Yep. I think that, I mean, look, I'm going to say that I agree with you because I've been talking about ranking the teams based off this point in time. And that's why, and look, I strongly feel that Georgia is number 1 right now. That win last night was a solid win. I mean, we watched it. I mean, this Ole Miss team, they took care of business. You know, everybody, they're playing at a very high level without their best player, Brock Bowers, okay? And I think Alabama is also playing like one of the best teams. If Georgia's number 1, Alabama, honestly, if you really, really want to know the truth, they might be the number 2 team right now. 100%. Right? I mean, not impressed with Michigan. I would like to see Michigan get in there to tangle with some of these top teams because I think it'd be great. Now this Florida State team, I'm starting to get a little bit more respect for them. I don't like their schedule. I don't like that, they were tied with Miami, but when I watch them and their offense and they have a little bit of defense, whatever. And this is a great point too. The stuff with Michigan, like B-Puck saying, like, Michigan did cheat. Why would they have any type of sanctions to Michigan these last 3 games if there wasn't really smoke there, right? And why shouldn't they be penalized for when it did happen, right? Like during the season. Michigan, you could almost argue, should be completely out despite their record. They should be disqualified. You could really say that. Like you said, Ohio State, I mean, I watched them against Rutgers. Good wide receivers. I mean, they have a couple good wins this season, but, maybe they're not what they were. So, honestly, you could say Alabama and Georgia are the top two teams right now. That's why I'm kind of with you in the fact that if Alabama is able to take care of business against Chattanooga and Auburn, and I know this is rat poison, and if they're able to beat Georgia, and Georgia's able to beat Tennessee and Georgia Tech, and these two teams meet, and Georgia's undefeated and hasn't lost since who knows when, and Alabama's a one-loss team peaking at the right time, that is your national title game in Georgia. The winner of that game, 1,000,000%, in my opinion, gets into the playoffs. You've seen the way that Texas has been playing as of late. Their two last games have been won by a combined 6 points. I think that their win, Alabama's overall resume is stronger than the Pac-12. I've talked about that before. You want to talk, if you're from Oregon and you're watching the show, I appreciate it. I love Eugene. I think Oregon is beautiful. I love, what you got going on with Dan Lanning. I like that attitude. Washington, amazing. I love Seattle. Who doesn't? But in terms of you don't have defense and you haven't played a tough schedule, 100%. Look at your schedule. You haven't. So those are the things that we're looking at. And I don't know. I agree with you. What else you got?
I just want to make a quick comment on the Kool-Aid punt return. This is just my personal opinion. I think he's in business decision mode. He's looking forward to that draft, and I think he knows he's probably going to be a top 10 pick. And it's just, to me, I think he's making business decisions to say, hey, I'm not getting injured returning punts.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they should pull him and maybe put
Isaiah Bond,
number 19. 17 or 19. One of those two guys.
Kendrick Law. So Kendrick Law or Isaiah Bond. Yeah. I mean, I think it has to be Bond. Yeah. The thing with Kool-Aid, look, it's like, I get it. So you got to protect your players, and Saban, loves Kool-Aid. He's loved Kool-Aid from the time he got here, 100%. Who doesn't love Kool-Aid? But returning punts, I mean, something has to change because, okay, you can let it impact a game like Kentucky and still be able to manage a significant win. But what happens if there's a muffed punt against Georgia? That game's over. You were never recovering from that.
My gosh.
So, look, I don't know what's going on. Sometimes that happens. It gets into your mind. Whatever. It's not a big deal. He's performing at a high level at the corner position. Put in Isaiah Bond. You need a guy that can take the ball to the house. Like last night, Florida State, they almost broke a punt return. The guy looked electric. You need that guy back there. Anything else before I move to my next caller?
Oh, no, that's it, man. You're doing a great job. Keep it going, bro. And I love watching your show, man.
All right, man.
Roll Tide.
All right, roll tide to you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We got a 201 and 251 and a 980 and an open line. My name's Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys calling in and rapping with me this beautiful Sunday morning. Coach Sean this morning joined us. We talked about a variety of things. You can rewind that, and I'll also play that later tonight right here on Bama Football on YouTube. But I wanted to just say thank you for being here. We have 95,000 subscribers as of today, so thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And my pledge to you is to continue to be consistent with the high level of performance, continue to work through everything that we get and try to provide a good product. I mean, I think like my mantra is put in the work, be authentic, and good things will happen. Like this is what I do for a full-time living, and I appreciate you guys being here. You have your full-time job, so do I, and I hope that I'm giving you guys a platform to enjoy and to check out college football in general, and of course Alabama football. With that said, we go to our next call, and it is a 201. Let's do it right now. Hey, thanks for being patient. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, it's Adam calling from Georgia. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Adam? I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. First of all, man, thank you very much for supporting the channel. I know you're always on the super chats. I really appreciate it. I'm really gracious for your support, for believing in the channel. With that said, man, welcome to the show. Let's dive on into it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's a great show. I'll be really quick. The committee has to look at who are actually the best four teams.
Yeah.
Ohio State struggled against Rutgers. Michigan didn't look impressive against Penn State. Washington struggled against USC. Oregon lost to Washington, and Texas didn't look good against TCU. I mean, to me, it's clear that Georgia and Alabama are the top two teams.
Yeah.
And if they don't, that's my opinion. The second thing is this. As far as Jimbo Fisher being fired, I mean, I honestly wonder, what do these universities expect from these coaches?
Mhm.
I mean, is it Jimbo Fisher's fault that Max Johnson threw an interception when they were driving down for the win against Ole Miss? I mean, they hold them to these ridiculous standards, and I don't think it's going to get any better. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on, the kind of the wisdom of firing a coach when his margins of losses have been so close, and ultimately it's the players who are responsible for executing.
Man, that's a great question. Look, I think that one of the statistics that bothers me most about Jimbo Fisher is the fact that the road losses, like you can't win on the road. And I think when you pay somebody this amount of money and you have everything that money can buy, and you're in the SEC, a game that is completely micromanaged, and you know who has really set the bar is Coach Saban. I mean, honestly, everybody looks to Coach Saban, and specifically this year, people were expecting Coach Saban to be like a 8-4 type team this year. They were expecting him to lose 3 games. Look what he's done. He might win the Coach of the Year award with this team, who is now, as we're talking about, either the number 1 or the number 2 team at this point in time. So Coach Saban has continued to do a good job, and add to the fact that he has a new OC and a new DC. So does Jimbo. He brought in Bobby Petrino. So things aren't working well at Texas A&M, and it's not only this year. They haven't even made the playoffs, right? They haven't even made the playoffs with every single thing that money can buy. So when you get into the SEC, and careful to Steve Sarkisian, whoever else takes over, or for even Brett Venables with the great job that he's done at Oklahoma, when you come into the SEC, the bar is raised. The SEC is a different caliber, and I get it. Yeah, it's either the X's and O's, Jimmy's and Joe's, but the head coach has, we've seen, how many coaches have we've seen rotate in and out of the SEC? You know what? Actually, the coaches that we have right now are probably the best coaches within the SEC, right? Kirby Smart's been doing a good job. Josh Heupel's been doing a good job. Brian Kelly's been doing a good job. Lane Kiffin's been doing a good job. Sam Pittman, I know he's down there on the ropes, but you see how fast things can slide. You got to maintain a high level of performance when you're in the SEC, and the SEC is quick. It's like the NFL. If you're not performing, you get cut, period. And there's somebody else that they're going to bring in. So that's a ton of money. It is on the players, but he has the players. I mean, look at that wide receiving unit that he has, and I know the quarterback got hurt or whatever, but still, it's not just this year. I mean, there was probably one year that I felt Texas A&M should have gotten to the playoffs, but other than that, it's just like, not really impressed. Anything else, man?
No. Great answer, Kyle. Great show. Thanks again for taking my call, and roll Tide.
All right, take it easy. Thank you so much. I appreciate your continued support. 251-980-904 coming up next right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Fam, 1 second. If you hit the join button on this YouTube channel, you can become a fan funder for as low as $2.99. It's up at the top of the screen. If you're watching on a computer, it says join. And if you're on your phone, just scroll up to the top. It's a long hyperlink that says join. So I appreciate your continued support. Super chats also appreciated. Adam with the 20 spot, just like that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you guys being here. Coach Saban's press conference is posted. I uploaded a clean version. The Zoom last night was like, it was rough sledding. And a couple of people heard me in the background on my hot mic. I was like, the fans deserve better than this. This is crap. But we got a clean version uploaded. And then I got Mark Stoops, his press conference uploaded as well. So I appreciate you guys' support. For Monday, you got Coach Saban's press conference at 12 and then player interviews on top of that as well. I'll bring those to you nice and clean right here on Bama Football on YouTube. And, of course, I will be live at 9 a.m. in the morning. We go back to the phone lines with the 251. Let's get it right now. Hey, thank you for being patient. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, man, this is Robert from Mobile.
Hey, what's up, Robert? Good morning. I really appreciate you. I guess we're moving more towards that lunch hour here in the great state of Alabama, but I appreciate you calling in, man. Take it away.
Hey, your last answer about Jimbo was spot on correct. I mean, that was just a perfect answer. Yeah, you can't make as much money as this guy make. The expectations are high. Yeah, so is your salary. I mean, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen? Yeah, of course, we're going to see high expectations. Now, if you only made $100,000 a year, expectations probably they could probably tolerate the level of play that you've given there at Texas A&M. But you make $11 million a year?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Jimbo Fisher. Over in Clemson. You know, that guy called his show and complaining about it and mentioned his salary. Yeah, you make too much money. Well, yeah, we're going to expect a lot of high expectations out of you. That's how it goes. If you don't want the expectations, then take a lower salary or go to another team. But yeah, that's how it's going to be. I think the previous caller who talked about Kool-Aid, I think he was had something there too.
Yep.
On maybe he is making business decisions about filling those punts.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, again, it's up to Saban and the team to say, hey, then maybe it's time to try somebody else.
Yep.
If it's confident, it's time to try somebody else. If you're making a business decision, which I can understand, it's time to try somebody else. So let's give somebody else a shot. I do think, though, some of you callers are a bit naive about the SEC. The SEC can't be denied if Alabama or Georgia wins out.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what we think is fair. It's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
The committee's doing. We see what they're doing. They're sending a clear message. If you're an undefeated conference champion, you're in. That's just how they're going to do it this year.
Mm-hmm.
And Texas and Alabama's not going to jump Texas unless Texas lose twice. Like coach, I forgot what coach's name.
Coach Sean.
Yep. You talked with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you spot on right.
Mm-hmm.
We would be screaming up and down and angry if it was reversed. We beat Texas and they jump us. So yeah, that's not going to happen either.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's fortunate that it's so great that next year we don't have to worry about this. I hate we got to worry about it this year because here's the scenario that we all thought could happen.
Mm-hmm.
If for anybody who thought they didn't want this expanded playoff,
mm-hmm.
which fortunately you didn't get your way, and now you finally see why we need it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we need it, and it's great that next year we're not going to have this problem. Alabama can stumble, because next year's schedule, SEC, there's not going to be such a thing as an SEC team without one loss in regular season next year.
Mm-hmm.
The way the conference is structured, everybody's going to have a loss.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia better appreciate this pancake easy season they got here because they're not getting it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have a loss in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it opens it. So now with 12-team playoff, we don't have to worry about a loss.
Yep.
You're probably going to have an SEC team in there with 2 losses with a solid chance of running the table and winning the national championship. And that's how it should be.
Yep.
I hate college football. It took us so long to get to where what's obvious. It's been frustrating, but finally, we're here. Unfortunately, it's 1 year too late. The scenario still exists that the SEC could have no teams in it. Right now, Alabama still does not control our own destiny. And if we have to worry about Auburn this year, we don't need to be in the playoff. So people say don't look ahead. Look. You have to believe where this team is. This team, I'm not worried about Auburn. This team, because if we have to worry about this Auburn team, about losing this Auburn team, then we shouldn't be in the playoffs. We shouldn't even think about playoffs. We better not. Oh no, we shouldn't just beat Auburn in Jordan here. We have to beat them like we just beat Kentucky. That's what has to happen. Otherwise, because the style points are going to matter. It could come down to us and Oregon as to who gets in. You better show on your resume that you beat down a mediocre Auburn team. So we cannot struggle against and with the way Miro's playing, I don't think we will. Miro the light is on, and it looks like the light is staying on. And as long as he stays this way, we should not struggle against any mediocre team for the rest of the season. I hate we struggled earlier. That's what got us in the position we are now. We struggled against mediocre teams early. But now, I don't believe we'll struggle against any other mediocre team for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think that, and we're on with Robert from Mobile, I think that 2 losses that clearly impacted Alabama, because what I've been seeing with this playoff selection committee is they want style points. And they want, they value kind of these light schedules that some of these teams have had, right? Georgia now Georgia has 2 quality wins. That's why I think they'll move to number 1. But Georgia did have a light schedule up to this point. Oregon, Michigan, those teams have light schedules. So I think the 2 losses that certainly hurt Alabama, not only Texas, right, but that South Florida game, honestly, because when the committee looks at it, they're like, oh, they only won 17-3 and they were tied at halftime with South Florida. Well, yeah, that was the quarterback wasn't even playing. That was a completely different team. That's not even the same team. You start to look at Alabama for against Ole Miss, and then to this point, that's the Alabama team that you're looking at. Robert, anything else when you kind of look at the board of topics, or anything else that you want to talk about before I move to my next caller?
No, I think we're doing good. We're doing a good job. Like I said, Milroe, the light's on. And I think it's going to stay on. And we may not be talking Miro Heisman this year.
Oh yeah,
but watch out for Miro Heisman next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right,
Yeah. All right, man. Take it easy. All right. See you, Robert. All right. I don't know if I agree with this. Yo, KJ, appreciate the support, man. Love the blue drip and that profile pic, man. I don't agree with this because I don't think Texas has gotten better. I think if you look to them overall, they're starting to slide. I think some teams might have peaked a little bit too early, and I'm saying that I think Oregon is one of those teams. So yeah, I think every team is starting to build up, but you start to add in different components of injuries or how they played late in the season. I mean, even Ohio State, who's ranked number 1 in the country right now, they were losing to Rutgers at halftime 2 weeks ago. So appreciate the feedback and what's up. Nana Davis with the super chat. Great commentary. I appreciate you, Bama Grill and Cali. I appreciate you guys. You guys know I used to live out in California. I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico, so I definitely got love for out in the West, and I thank you very much for that super chat. With that said, we go back to the phone lines at 980. Let's get it started right now. Thank you very much for being patient. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
What's up, Kyle? It's Keith from Georgia. Roll Tide.
What's up, man? I appreciate you calling in from Georgia. I hope you're off to a fantastic Sunday. Welcome on to the show, man. Take it away.
Yeah, man. So just pitching on to what the other callers were saying. Right there, man. I love this Alabama team. Big. Like I said, anybody, a blind man, could see that the team that lost to Texas in week 2 is not the same team currently. I guess where we're in week 10. But, all the fans and what we still have to realize is we still have that loss, because let's just say if it was the other way around and let's just say we was 10 or 11 when, and Texas was 3 team, we would want that win on our resume, no matter when you won. So I feel like, Bama losing that game, man, that's just something like you get a mark on your driver's license, a point off your driver's license. It's not going to go nowhere. So I feel like, people, Texas has been playing close, but I mean, you can just say the same thing with Bama. Those 2 close games Texas had the last couple of weeks is kind of like the same thing with Bama when they played, when Arkansas was close, the Texas A&M game was close. Yep. Really, the Tennessee game, before they flipped the switch in that second half, it looked like Bama was going to lose that game. So I know how been looking versus LSU, that second half of Tennessee, that first half of Arkansas, but Alabama really hasn't played a complete game to me until the Kentucky game. When you really look at it, even against LSU, that was really like a back and forth game up until the middle of the third quarter when they start getting a couple stops. So, I feel like with this Jalen Miro, man, the emergence of him, he's continued to play good. I feel like, they're house money. And I do feel like, as you look at the other teams, I mean, Washington, you can't not fault these teams. No matter how they're winning, they're still winning. It might not be how, to the degree that everybody wants somebody to beat every team 50-0, but they beat a top 10 team. They beat a top 20 team in USC with a Heisman candidate, beat a top 20 team in Utah. They got Oregon State this week, so we'll see how that one plays out. When you look at Oregon, they have that blemish to Washington. So I feel like the committee is kind of warranting them for playing close with Washington. I don't really think Utah is just kind of like that spoiler team that's going to be around in the Pac-12. Everybody knew they was going to beat Colorado. So I feel like the strength of schedule is not there. Y'all have a loss. So I don't really see how Oregon is still kind of ranked ahead of Texas and Alabama. When you kind of look at Florida State, they have a cupcake schedule. They've been kind of playing with fire. I feel like you beat the number 5 team in the country at the start of the season, and they just kind of been keep winning. I think they beat Duke. Duke at the time was like 15 or 16. But I feel like they should have lost that game to Miami. I ended up watching that game last night. So I feel like you get all these teams, even Michigan, they've been dominant. But you look at Ohio State. They have to play each other probably twice. So I just feel like you look at it, Alabama and Georgia will be favored against both of these teams.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look at Georgia, people saying Georgia's strength, it doesn't matter. Everybody has cupcake games on their schedule. You look at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama had who we had this year. We had Middle Tennessee State, USF. Now we're gonna play Chattanooga. So that's 3 games on the schedule, and you can't. These schedules are already kind of predetermined for a couple years in advance. I feel like Georgia had a little bit how it just lined up. Georgia's easier part of their schedule was at the beginning of the season. I think they had Ball State, UTM, and UAB. So it's not necessarily that Georgia has a weak schedule. They just got into the meat and potatoes of their schedule later in the season.
Mm-hmm. I think that when you look to some of these teams, and I was thinking about this last night, and I appreciate the call in, talking about a variety of teams, because look, the way that no matter number one, all teams play, maybe two light games, let's say. But the other point is these teams right here on the board, what did they all do last night? They all won. Right? They all won. And these teams continue to win. And the teams that win will, get what's coming to them, right? To the victors go the spoils. And in that early season game for Alabama, is really going to come in and to affect them. Even the committee said that. And I think that, and you do make a good point on this. Look, you could look to Alabama's game against Tennessee and argue that Alabama had to make adjustments in that second half to be able to beat Tennessee. They had to score 27 unanswered points in that game. They only played 1 quarter of play against Arkansas. I do disagree. I think the 4 quarters of play was against LSU, because we all know that team was going to score. That offense is crazy. Like, you saw the game that Jaden Daniels put up last night. Yeah. What did he put up, like 600 yards or something like that? It was crazy.
Right, obviously, yeah.
And then yesterday, I think they put up, 4 quarters of play, 7 quarters of play, because that 4th quarter was whatever. But my point is, this team, the way they're playing right now, like as of today, I think they're right behind Georgia.
Yeah, you can put it up there with the talent, but like I said, I feel like a lot of people are peeking around the corner. We still got, we still handle Chattanooga with no problem. You never know with that Auburn game, but just the next 2 games, I feel like Alabama should. This should be like blowout games to add that on your resume. Then you get to Georgia and just, I know I say about fans peeking around the corner, but Georgia is gonna that's gonna just tell the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia is on a roll. I feel like the last couple weeks, especially with the game that I watched last night, Georgia is the best team in the country right now. No, is hands down, is undisputable. If you put Georgia on the field with any team right now, I feel like besides Alabama, nobody else will match up with Georgia. But I feel like where the dynamics is going to come in is Jalen Milroe. I feel like Kirby Smart can watch the film and all that, but until you actually on the field with him, you're not going to know how to adjust to that, And I feel like people think, he's just a runner. That's where you get it messed up at, because you get those linebackers coming down and those safeties looking down and that secondary, he's going to throw it over the top of your head. So I feel like that Alabama has the defense and the team to knock Georgia off, but I feel like, is it going to be an instance if these next couple of weeks play out, if Alabama ends up moving up in the rankings a little bit, will both teams be in the top 4, or how do you think they would do that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's getting tricky to kind of look at everything right now and kind of, start to kind of piece together, because as you see on this screen I have right now, all these teams keep winning. That's why I already said, I think Georgia's number 1, Bama's number 2. We're going to learn a lot from Tuesday where they put these teams at, or I think the next update is Tuesday. It should be every Tuesday, but I don't know. Look, let me ask you a question before I move to my next caller. You're a Georgia fan, right?
No, Alabama fan. I just live in Georgia. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So let me ask you this: you watched Georgia last night, right?
I did.
Okay, that quarterback, look, he's starting to ball out. I mean, what was your take on Georgia overall? And do you think that was a statement win for Georgia? And do you think that Georgia should beat number one? Because the way that Carson Beck is starting to play right now, he's starting to play like lights out. What's your assessment on that?
I feel like, man, Georgia is like they're the cream of the crop right now. That quarterback,
yes.
I feel like a lot of people talk about Georgia's defense, but if you just look at Georgia, man, they were unstoppable last night. It feels like every drive they scored against. I mean, granted, it's Ole Miss defense. It's not like they were going against a top defense, but still, I think Ole Miss was top 10 in the country in pressures and sacks. Even when the run game took over, it was like Georgia was getting 20 yards a pop in the run game and pass plays. Browers came back from injury. He looked like he hadn't skipped a beat, and I feel like they got weapons everywhere. Like they probably about 5 or 6 deep at receiver. The 1-2 punch at running back. You got a quarterback. I think the ball got deflected or something. That I don't think that pick was really on him. Who's taking care of the ball, and he's kind of like a sneaky runner too, so he can pick up those yards. But I feel like, man, it's gonna be hard to beat Georgia. To beat Georgia, you're definitely gonna have to force some turnovers. You're going to have to flip that field. And definitely, I feel like some type of spark, whether if it's in a return game or, some type of defensive touchdown, is going to take that type of game to beat Georgia.
Yep. Yeah. No, I completely agree. Well, thanks for calling in. I really appreciate it, man. Call in anytime. Again, I'll be live from Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. and, of course, on Sundays as well. So thank you so much. I hope you have a great Sunday with your family, and we'll catch up with you soon.
All right, man. Roll Tide.
All right, Roll Tide team, man. All right. Yeah, that was a good call. Appreciate it. All right, fam. I'm going to take this 904, and if I don't get to you guys today, hold it against my head, not my heart. I try to get you guys all in, but I also am a father, and Sundays, I gotta hang out with the kids, and I want to take them to go watch the 49ers play. Plus, I'm hungry too. I know you guys are hungry too. If you guys want to check out any of this merch, hit up I'll post a link inside the comment box. There's a couple hoodies. This hoodie is really nice, has length. There's a couple other options, so check it out. Whatever. I appreciate the support. We'll go to the 904, and we'll start right now. Hey, what's up? Thanks very much for calling. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, it's Edward from Jacksonville, Florida.
Hey, Edward. I appreciate you calling in.
Yes, sir.
Jackson Niners. You're gonna give me a preview on this game coming in? You a Jags fan?
Not really. No.
All right.
No, I'm originally from Birmingham, but I've been here for 30-something years.
Okay, got you.
I got here before the Jaguars came in, but I don't know, what can I tell you, man. I like Philadelphia and wherever the Alabama players go. That's what I like.
Yeah, all Philadelphia. Yeah,
NFL goes.
All right, so
Philadelphia, the Patriots, whatever.
Where you want to take it? You want to talk playoff talk, or you want to talk observations yesterday? What's on your mind, man? Your show. Take it away.
Just a couple of things. As far as the playoffs go, what conference won the national championship last year?
SEC.
How about the year before that?
SEC.
How about before that, the year before?
Is it the SEC again? I don't know. Now I'm just saying SEC.
Yeah, it would be, and then the one before that.
Yep. Yeah.
That would be the SEC. So there's a real problem with leaving out the SEC if it's a one-loss championship team. It's like a real problem because what you're doing there is you're testing the credibility of the whole playoff. I mean, there's no way it's a credible playoff if the conference that wins it every year is excluded. It just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? So I don't think they'll do that. I don't think they can go that far. That being said, I do believe, if you have more than one loss, you're out. And it may be that if Bama beat Georgia, they might be out, which is kind of hard for me to swallow, given, that they would be a two-time champion with one loss, especially if it's a very close game. But anyway, that's all I have to say on that as far as that goes. I just think that if it turns out that way, it's going to be very hard for them to take Texas if it's like a Texas situation over Alabama. Should Alabama win that game? The only other thing is, did you see Michigan? How many rushing attacks they had in that game?
Yeah. There's
Was it 6?
I'm looking it up right now. Let's see if I can find the stats. Yeah, and did you see the running back after the game? All right, I got the stats right here. Let me see how many rushing attempts they had. Team stats, player stats. I mean, I see it right here that Blake Corum had 26 carries for 145 yards, and then Donovan Edwards had 10 carries. So, I mean, yeah, that's a ton of keeping the ball on the ground. I mean, in the 24-15 victory.
It was either they had 6. It was either they had 6 for the whole half or 6 for the game. I can't remember which, but it was very little. And I ask you, against Georgia or in Alabama, when you pass the ball 6 times, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, right.
I guarantee you what's going to happen. Nothing much is going to happen for your offense. So that to me tells me they've been playing some physically weak teams, and they would find out really quickly, as they normally do in the playoffs. But I think the fact that Michigan and Ohio State are near the top, I think they're just trying to guarantee that one spot for the Big Ten.
And I think you bring up a great point. I mean, you look at the teams that have ran the ball effectively this season that have faced Alabama. You can't run the ball against Alabama. You can't run the ball against Georgia. I mean, as talented as that running back was for Kentucky, and I get it, there's a large difference between Alabama's defensive front in Kentucky, but you cannot run the football in Alabama. The guy yesterday, he had 2 touchdowns, but they were short touchdown runs, and the guy ripped off one late in the game. But that was, I mean, you know what I'm saying. Overall, collectively, you can't run against Alabama, and if that's your game plan to beat Alabama, you're not going to beat them. The team that is going to beat Alabama is a team that has a quarterback that can sling it across the field and can go up tempo, like the Texas team, like the LSU type team. But other than that, you're not going to just be able to ground and pound Alabama. That's why I think like a team like Georgia, being that they are a balanced, and now that they've went with a quarterback who can spin the football around, and they do have the running backs, that is a balanced team that can go up tempo, that can give you problems, especially if Brock Bowers ever comes back.
Right. And then that's my last thought is about Georgia. I agree with the guys that said Georgia is the best team in the country. They are the best team, and we don't need to be worrying about can we survive Auburn, because if we have a hard time surviving Auburn, we don't have a chance.
Yep.
And that being said, we do have a chance, but we're going to have to improve between now and then, because they're a very physically powerful team, and they're balanced, and we're still a little inconsistent here and there, and we're going to have to iron out those remaining kinks if we expect to beat them.
Yeah,
that's my feeling.
Yeah, 100%.
Right now, I would favor them by about 8 points right now on a neutral field, and I just don't see it happening. I think it can happen, but we're going to have to continue to improve as we've been doing, and the offensive line is going to have to continue to improve, and we're going to have to build in a lot of consistency between now and then.
What's your
that being said, we can beat them.
What's your top 4 right now? Just right now, today, November 12th.
As far as the best teams, I would probably say Georgia, maybe Washington, then let's see, Georgia, Washington, FSU, and maybe Alabama.
Yeah, I think that I would like to. Okay, how about this? Everyone in the comment box right now, post your 1 through 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 right now. As of today, just post it. I don't care who just post your top 4 teams right now. Anything else before I get going?
No, that's it, sir. Thank you.
All right, man. Appreciate the call from Jacksonville. Thank you so much. All right.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. All right, this will be our. This is going to be our last call of the day. We got David from Louisiana. If I didn't get you today, hold against my head, not my heart. I will get you guys Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. and then of course back on Sunday. So David, Louisiana, what's up, man? Welcome on in.
Screw Brian Kelly, his little crybaby self.
Yeah, you saw that.
What are they going to do? Start putting dresses on quarterbacks from now on and putting them in little pink thongs, let them run around on the field, and you can't hit them like that. Blah blah blah. I'm so sick and tired of it. But anyways,
well, let me
teams,
well hold on, David, because there's probably some people who came in the show in the back end don't know what you're talking about. So Brian Kelly today, or whatever yesterday after the game, he's now accusing. This is the third time that he has talked about the hit on Jaden Daniels. Yesterday or today, he accused Dallas Turner of trying to take out Jaden Daniels. We've gone over this several times. Here's a soundbite. This is yesterday. This is Brian Kelly talking about Dallas Turner. Here you go. Here's a soundbite.
But it's tragic that we threw a kid out of the game because he was trying to play football. And whatever semantic, there's going to be a great explanation about this. He used the crown of his helmet, or he did this, or he did that. He was playing football. Last week, that guy that hit Jaden Daniels was trying to knock him out. You can say whatever you want, but that's what he was trying to do. Our guy was trying to make a tackle. So everybody's smart enough to figure that out. But we have two different outcomes. We got to figure it out.
All right, David, there's Coach Kelly talking about Dallas Turner. Your take.
Oh, I know. I saw that. I just laughed at it. If he would open his freaking eyes, maybe he can borrow my glasses and see exactly what Coach Saban even said in his take on it. Dallas Turner come in, and if there was another video I saw, it was a back behind Daniels whenever he got hit. I forgot the name of the group, 22 Film or something like that, had another view of it that CBS or whoever didn't show. And on the initial hit, Turner's head was completely to the left side of Daniels. And when the contact was made, he kind of moved himself, boom. And then if you look, you can see Daniels turn his head to the left, and that's what made everything look like it was a targeting foul.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm so sick and tired of it. And I had LSU fans saying, well, if that had happened to Milroe, y'all have been crying and whining too. Maybe, maybe not. It's just part of football. It's part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
They have turned the game into, and I understand protecting quarterbacks and players and stuff like that, because these guys nowadays compared to back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s and 80s are much bigger, stronger, faster, and will rock your world in a matter of seconds. But it is what it is. It's over with. Quit living in the past. Move on. Get your team prepared for next year to get slaughtered in Death Valley, because we're going to have a lot of returning players. And you ain't going to have Daniels no more, because he's like a 10-year starter or whatever. He played at Arizona and everywhere else. He won't be out there trying to run around. And it's his fault on a lot of these big hits that he's taken over the several games over the past couple of years, because he weighs like 125 pounds, and trying to run up against these linebackers or whatever and getting knocked back 15 yards. But enough about LSU. Can't stand the team whatsoever. And I live right here in Louisiana. But as far as my top 4 teams go, after watching what Georgia did last night against Ole Miss has no defense whatsoever. Mm-hmm. They popped up a statistic last night on the game that Ole Miss's defense stays on the field like 39 minutes out of a 60-minute game. That's terrible. Mm-hmm. That's just downright terrible. If Ole Miss had a defense like Alabama has, they'd have probably beat Georgia last night, because they have no defense whatsoever. Mm-hmm. But my top 4 teams as of right now would be Georgia, number 1. I would actually jump Michigan to number 2. Mm-hmm. Florida State, they struggled last night against Miami, and then I would put Ohio State number 4. Alabama should, in my opinion, over the past 2 weeks, Texas hadn't looked that good. Yeah, they played Kansas State, top 24, number 23 team, whatever they was ranked, in overtime, won. And I don't understand why Kansas State didn't kick the field goal to bring it into a third overtime instead of going for it, or a second overtime. Then they struggled against a 4-5 TCU team last night with a freshman quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They have no defense. Their offense is fairly decent. They had one player, I can't remember his name, number 3, that was catching some great balls last night.
Mm-hmm.
Texas, to me, is not the team. Florida State is not that impressive to me right now. I don't know. It is what it is. Washington's good. They got a good team. But as far as, let's get into Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid needs to sit on the bench.
Yeah.
On punt. We need to have somebody back there that's not scared to catch the ball. I don't know how true it is. Someone yesterday said in a comment that I posted that Kool-Aid got hit last year sometime and almost had a concussion, and after that he just wasn't the same.
Yep.
But you look at his statistics last year, Kool-Aid had over 300-something yards on returns last year total. This year he only even had but a little over 50 yards in total returns.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to get somebody back there that's not scared to catch the ball, because when he lets it bounce, 90% of the time it goes for the opposing team and gives them more of an advantage. Kentucky game yesterday was a great game. They have a better – Kentucky had a better win ratio than what TCU did.
Mm-hmm.
I just believe Alabama, when it comes out Tuesday, should jump Texas. Texas should fall. I believe Florida State's going to drop one spot, and they'll put somebody above them. We'll find out Tuesday, but Alabama better be prepared for Auburn, because what they done to Arkansas yesterday was pretty impressive. And I understand Arkansas ain't that great this year, and I figured Arkansas would have fired Sam Pittman before A&M would have ever fired Jimbo Fisher. But it's just the way football goes. If you can't win and you got all these 5 stars that you supposedly paid for or whatever coming in, and you can't win with them and be a contender for a national championship, then you got to go. But I don't know who's going to be the new head coach over there. I mean, I could go coach over there for way less money and make sure that make sure Bama wins every time we play Texas A&M. But anyways, I can go on and on and on. But anyways, I know you got to spend time with your family, and I wish mine was a little bit closer to me, but they're all over the place. They're grown and gone now. But with that being said, God bless everyone. God bless this great country, and roll Tide and screw LSU.
All right. Take it easy, David. Thanks. See you, buddy. All right. Good call from David. Hey, fam, I appreciate you guys watching. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Thinking about becoming a fan funder, hit the join button where it says subscribe at the top of our YouTube channel. Or if you're on your phone, just scroll up. You'll see a big hyperlink as low as $2.99. You can get the merch inside the comment box. I appreciate you guys more than you know. Thank you very much for the super chats. Thank you guys very much for supporting the channel. I will have Coach Saban on Monday, and then on Tuesday you get player interviews. So tons more coverage coming up your way on Alabama, Crimson Tide football, and college football in general. Definitely check out the YouTube shorts as well. And you got the college football playoffs that will drop on Tuesday night. It'll be interesting to see where Alabama checks in. So coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama on this fine Sunday, Kyle Henderson, Bama football on YouTube.